And our first 2024 Bullseye, we always talk to somebody that is an important member of a sport other than basketball or football, in this case, a very important member. Now, before we speak to Erik Jenkins, can I still call you Coach Jenkins? Do you answer to Coach? I know you got a new job title.
Nope,
Director.
I'm Coach.
Okay.
I'm Coach, yep.
Okay. And Director and Overseer of Track and Field and Cross Country. We're overseeing the track and the field right now because it's about that time. Now, we're outdoors because it's Florida.
Right.
But the indoor season begins this weekend, so it's about to get started. I know you've had a lot of training, but tell people where we are in the schedule and how busy it's about to get.
Yeah, so we start our indoor season this weekend up in Gainesville. They just built a facility, 200-meter bank track, and that's becoming pretty common. We'll compete on a 200-meter bank track in Louisville in 2 weeks. Then we'll follow up, go up to Boston, and then we'll finish up in Chicago at a new facility they have up there as well. So we'll get to run on some of the premier track and field facilities in the country. And then obviously we'll host our conference championship in Birmingham, which has hosted the NCAA championship.
Now, you're used to being at these premier events, but I want to talk about the 200-meter bank because that is probably the biggest signal of the difference between indoor and outdoor. Some of the events are similar, but anything on the track, does that drastically change your approach, or you just have to know it's going to be different?
It does, because obviously we train on a 400-meter flat track most days. You essentially have three types of track indoors. You have a 200-meter flat, you have a 300-meter flat, and then you have a 200-meter bank. And the NCAA championships and most conference championships are run on bank tracks, so we try to get on those as much as possible. And for us, we're blessed to be here in Tampa, and we can fly to some of the coolest cities in the country. So again, we'll go to Chicago, we'll go to Louisville, and we'll go to Boston. And all three of those cities provide very, very fine opportunities for the sport of track and field.
Coach Jenkins, this is your 5th year, and you can just feel year by year the growth. And before we get into this season, I do want to give him one last shout out because he got you your first national title.
Right.
Romaine Beckford, he's not here anymore. You've had to replenish, but that was, I guess, the prime example, along with your 4x100 guys getting All-American status, of where you want the program to continue to get to.
Yeah, I think you know, obviously he did a good job for us, and we're certainly looking forward to other young people coming through the program and doing a good job. The University of South Florida is an outstanding institution. It's an outstanding athletic department. We've got great leadership, and you can get it done here. Right now, it's a little chilly here, but I'd much rather be in Tampa, some other parts of the country right now that are really getting hammered with some very, very cold weather. Sure. But we certainly appreciate this sunshine, and we've got a very, very exciting group of young people here in the program right now. There are a lot of names people probably have not heard of, but I'm telling you, we've got some very good coaches and some very good support staff that are helping them reach their potential.
It's a massive operation, and I love it. And I want to get into that part of it now because people think the transfer portal and replenishing a roster. Football comes to mind, obviously, first because it's the biggest roster. Track and field is right behind football,
right.
And I noticed that you have gone the junior college route a lot. Could you speak, and I'm sure it's massive, to just constructing a track and field roster and the size of it?
Yeah, we want to just go out and find good people who happen to be good student athletes. And whether it's junior college, or international student, it can be a transfer, a high school student athlete. We're trying to find people who fit what we do. You know, the transfer portal is great. It gives you some folks who you hope have had some success immediately, and they'll just bring that in. But we don't mind developing people. But you have to find the right people that can compete first and foremost at your conference championship level, and then you work your way forward. And I think we've done a very good job of identifying those type of people, but they've got to do it when the lights come on.
And I think of someone that's started off at a smaller school, and whatever their times or their heights are is impressive enough, but when they come here and they see this, and I want to ask you about that, not just from a performance standpoint, it's probably helped, but the new surface, all that you guys have improved to this facility at track and field where you're hosting conference meets, does that get their attention too? Absolutely.
You know, you have to start with Michael Kelly and his vision first and foremost, and giving me an opportunity to come here, and he's been very supportive, and so has the rest of the administration, of trying to help us put our program in a position where we can be successful at a high level. I'm excited about the direction of the program, but it all starts with him and the people he has to report to be able to give us the resources necessary to do it. We've got a fantastic facility, brand new surface. There are a lot of things going on around the track right now. You know, they've redone the restroom area. scoreboard has been updated. You know, I could just go around and give you tons of things that are going on right now. But this is a great time to be at this institution and a great time to be in our program.
So as far as, I don't want you to give anybody too inflated of a big head early on that's just coming here for the first time, but you know, you bring in some people that have national championship type credentials. Could we be looking at some new names that Bulls fans can get excited about? Again, without building up their heads too, too early that are watching this.
Right, yeah, because they still got to get it done when it counts. But you know, you bring in, you know, Goodness Aridia is a young man who is a sophomore this year.
His name is Goodness, by the way.
His name is Goodness, and you know, I think he is a person that has a very, very bright future within our program. He was a national champion in the triple jump at the NAIA level. He was a guy that was one of the top jumpers in the long jump as well, and he also can high jump. You know, you bring in Rashid. Rashid was the 100-meter champion at NAIA. He's got a personal best of 10:08, I believe, and he's got a wind-dated mark of under 10 seconds at 9.98. He's run 20, 50, and 20, 30. You know, Jermaine, who came over from Bethune-Cookman, I think he has an incredible future ahead of him. I think he's really starting to scratch the surface in the short sprint events, and he's also committed. He did something in one of our 4x4s here for practice that really said, okay, I think there's something there. You know, tons of people we can go down the list with, and obviously return some very, very solid returners in Janiyah Burton, Shania Benjamin, Michael Bourne, who was a conference champion for us last year. We just want to continue to enhance the people who are returning, enhance their opportunities with good people around them so we can have a chance to be successful at the conference level and national level.
It's below 10 seconds. I don't care how aided by the wind it is. That's a pretty good mark to remember.
He can move.
He can move. Hey, obviously it's the indoor season now, but let's look at the schedule, stretching it out to the spring, because we just mentioned the facility. You guys are going to be able to host a couple events, not just the grandness of that, but the fields that you're going to eventually see here come to Tampa.
Yeah, so we're going to host 2 home meets this year, and what we want to do, we want this to be a destination for people to come and have very, very fine track and field meets. You know, our first meet is March 15th and 16th, and we're bringing in Ohio State, Oklahoma, Michigan, Iowa, Pittsburgh, West Virginia, a few others. I don't want to leave anybody off, but a very, very solid meet early on. Kentucky. And then for the second meet, you know, we'll bring in Rutgers, we'll bring in Pittsburgh again, we'll bring in UConn, and several other Group of 5 schools and some Super 22 institutions that have very, very fine track and field programs. That first meet will have teams that finish in the top 10 nationally, several national champions, multiple All-Americans at a lot of different levels. So it will be a competitive meet. It's coming right off of the NCAA championship. So again, we think that we have an outstanding facility that we can continue to build our brand and attract quality people to come here and compete at the University of South Florida.
You mentioned Kentucky. I believe they're hosting the East Prelims
this
year, so that's not a bad little thing.
Right.
The school that's hosting the major event on the east side before the NCAA National Meet is coming to Tampa. And that's I got to follow up on one thing you said. It's the first time I've ever heard the phrase Super 22. Maybe I'm just out of the loop, so I'm guessing that's a conference.
Yeah, so once you have your Power 5 or Power 4 now, then you have your Group of 5. And then the conferences that tend to make up below that, which are all fine institutions and fine conferences, it's commonly notated as a Super 22.
Okay.
So again, you know, you can have folks from the MEAC that can really come in here and get some things done, or SWAC, or Colonial, whatever it may be. There's some very, very fine institutions. And the thing about track and field is either you're fast or you're not. You can throw far or you don't, or jump far, whatever it may be. So the simplicity of that is what makes it special. And so we can get a lot of different people from a lot of different conferences or divisions to come in and have an outstanding track and field meet.
And I know as we start to wrap it up here, we talked about Kobe as one of your pole vaulters before, as an example of someone who's really upped themselves physically. Obviously, the season starts this weekend, but you've been training, you've been working hard in the weight room. Explain to people how much goes into that when it comes to getting prepared for it. You have to be ready. There
are a lot of early mornings. We've got a strength and conditioning coach that is really dialed into what we're trying to do as a staff. Sean does a good job. And to me, we've had the best fall we've had. You know, we have a lot of young men and young ladies who are holding each other accountable. And when it hurts, they're getting up off the, the ground and they're holding each other up. And that's exactly what we want to have here. It's not going to be easy. You know, they often hear me say the hardest thing to do is pay attention, but you have to be disciplined and you have to be willing to work when things get tough. I mean, and I think we are finally starting to get those type of individuals within our program so that we can create a culture that says we're going to work hard, we're going to be disciplined, we're not going to shy away from competition, and we'll give you all you can handle sooner or later.
I can see the competition in you, and that's the last question, because I'm sure that some football coaches want to sling the football around, some baseball, I even see Billy Moll, you know, he's still got that pitching arm in him. Basketball, put up a couple attempts. Do you want to get out there every now and then, and if so, how long does that last, and where do you head? Do you head right to the hurdles?
So I live off my legend. I'm not going to race anybody. I'll be very, very honest. I don't want any part of these young athletes right now. Okay. You know, I mess around with them in the weight room every now and then, but even that's short-lived because you have to pick your poisons. But you know, it's exciting to be able to get out and be amongst the student athletes and see them happy and see them want to be competitive. And yeah, they give me a hard time, coach, you're getting old, blah, 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 all that stuff, which is fine. But you know, I always tell them I can beat one person in one thing, so you just don't want to be that person, right? So again, really excited about the direction we're going. I hope that folks will come out and support us March 15th and 16th and April 5th and 6th for our 2 home meets. And if we're close around and you're a Bulls fan, come out and support these young people because they deserve it, and I think they're going to represent you at a high level. Hey,
it's a pleasure to talk about it, and we're here for the season. And Erik Jenkins, thank you very much. We'll look forward to seeing you on the track, indoors and outdoors. Thanks again.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We'll wrap up Bullseye next.